All right, Lesson 38, Escalation, and specifically when to bump it up. There are two ways to get this wrong. Escalate the second a ticket lands and you look like a rookie. Sit on it for 4 hours and you've burned the user's day. The professional move lives in the middle. Try, time box, and if you're stuck, hand off with context. By the end of this lesson, escalation will feel like what it actually is, a senior tech move, not a white flag. Before we talk about when to escalate, you need the map. Most help desks run 3 tiers. Tier 1 is the front line. Junior techs, password resets, printer queues, 15 to 30 minutes a ticket, and roughly 70% of everything closes right there. Tier 2 is mid-level, 2 to 5 years in, handling the AD permissions, server-side stuff, network weirdness, about 20%. Tier 3 is the senior engineers and architects, deep system issues, vendor escalations, days or weeks of work, and only about 10% of tickets ever reach them. And heads up, smaller shops collapse this into 2 tiers, and bigger shops swap the numbers for names like service desk, desktop engineering, infrastructure, same hierarchy. Learn your org's labels on day 1. Now the map's in your head. Here are the 4 triggers, and memorize these because guessing is what gets you in trouble. 1. Time. Set a budget up front, 30 minutes at Tier 1, 2 hours at Tier 2, a day at Tier 3, and when it's gone, you're gone. 2. Complexity. The diagnostic from Lesson 35 points at a domain controller, a kernel panic, a gnarly AD ACL. That's not your turf, and saying so is professional. 3. Scope. Email server down, CEO locked out, whole site dark. That's a P1. Phone the on-call. Don't sit on it alone. And 4. Risk. Production changes, permission elevations, anything touching data or security. Escalate before you act, never after. So where do those triggers send the ticket? Up this pyramid. Tier 1, junior techs, password resets, printer queues, closes about 70% of the work in under 30 minutes. Tier 2, mid-level, 2 to 5 years in, handles the AD permissions, server, and networking stuff in a few hours. Tier 3, seniors and architects, owns vendor escalations, code-level bugs, infra design, measured in days. Tickets flow up. Knowledge flows back down through KB articles and training. Master your tier first, then bump up when those 4 triggers fire. Now, when you do bump it up, don't just toss it over the wall. A bad escalation is, hey, can you look at this? And now your senior restarts from 0, re-interviewing the user you already interviewed. A good escalation brings the package. What you tried in chronological order, your best diagnosis hypothesis with supporting evidence, the user's constraints and context, and an explicit reason you're escalating. Even a wrong hypothesis beats no hypothesis. It shows you thought about it. Nail these 4 sections and you save the senior 30 minutes and you look like a pro doing it. But sometimes you nail the package, send it up, and it comes right back. This is Tier 1, you handle it. Sting fades fast if you treat it as data. Default assumption, the senior is right. You missed something, so reread their note and work the ticket. Better move. Ask, what would you have tried first? You get their mental model for free, and next time you close it solo. When you genuinely did the work, push back politely with evidence. Tried XYZ, hit error 5 on 68, think it's beyond my AD permissions. And if one senior bounces half your tickets back, that's a pattern. Track it. Take it to your manager, not theirs. Enough theory. Let's drill 4 real tickets. 1. User locked out. You've burned 30 minutes on the standard fixes. Time box hit, escalate with your chronological list and AD screenshot. 2. Printer spooler restart. 3 minutes. KB article exists. Solve it. Escalating this earns you an eye roll. 3. Email slow, company-wide. That's a P1. Phone the on-call immediately. Don't troubleshoot solo. 4. User wants local admin. That's not technical. It's policy. Route to their manager for approval with an audit trail. Different signals, different bumps. Quick vocabulary check. These 12 terms show up in every escalation note you'll ever write. You already know the tiers and the time box. Add bump up as the slang you'll hear in chat, handoff as the act of transferring with context, and triage as your very first move on any ticket. Watch for reverse escalation. That's when Tier 2 sends it back because you skipped a step. Learn from it. Don't take it personally. Now the mindset traps. 5 things juniors get wrong, and each one will burn hours or your reputation. Escalating isn't failure, it's resource allocation, but flooding senior with everything is just as bad. High escalation rates are career limiting. Don't martyr yourself diagnosing for 4 hours when senior solves it in 15 minutes. Remember, escalation isn't only up. It goes sideways to other teams, to management, or out to vendors. And the big one, never lone wolf a P1. Heroes die in P1. Teams survive. So that's escalation locked in. 3-tier pyramid, 4 trigger rules. Always bring the package, and reverse escalation is how you actually learn. Try, time box, bump up. That's the rhythm. Next up in Lesson 39, we shift from talking to senior to talking to users. Plain language, the right tone, and setting expectations when things go sideways. 2 help desk lessons and the capstone left in Stage 5. See you there.